With us now is Ohio State head coach Nick Myers. And coach, as you look back at the inaugural season of Big Ten lacrosse, what stood out to you about this league, and how does that impact the way you approach the second season in the Big Ten?
That was an amazing first year. I think the preparation was, done the right way in terms of leading up to it. We're very grateful for everything the office did, the conference, in terms of making it a special year. And I think when you look back, it's the way the conference finished, in terms of the end of the season into the postseason. It's an incredible league from top to bottom, and I think, here we are preparing for year two and another exciting year.
Jesse King is off to the next level. He was a three-time All-American, led your team in points last season. You return Carter Brown and Colin Shell on the attack. How were their roles changed this year, and who else do you expect to get into the starting job with them on attack?
I think anytime you lose a player like Jesse, young men have to assume new responsibilities, and he was a special player for us, in our system. But I do believe the system is the key. Coach Ross is in his second year, which is exciting as our offensive coordinator. I think that's made a big difference in terms of just the development of our players. You mentioned Carter Brown and Colin Shell. Right now, Ryan Hunter is a senior for us who's been playing a lot that position. But I don't think it's going to be necessarily one guy that fills that role. I think Johnny Kelly and JT Bluebaugh, we have some new faces that I think are eager to step into new roles. So as we enter the season, we have a pretty competitive roster right now and competition going on our preseason. But on the offensive end, I think it's going to be a shared responsibility.
On the defensive side of the ball, you had Tom Carey in cage for you in his first year with the program last year. What was your assessment of his play, and how do you feel like he's grown coming into his second season with Ohio State?
Yeah, Tom had he finished strong. I think for Tom, the key is consistency. You look back on our success, the games and our big wins were games where Tommy was at his best. So I think when we challenged him in the offseason, it was to just be a bit more consistent. Now as a redshirt junior to really step into more of a leadership role, really command the defense. And I think he's really answered that challenge. At the same time, I'm excited about the depth that we have at the goal position. I think we got 4 very good players there. And I think, with the addition of Kyle Turry, our new goalie coach, who's joined our staff from Duke, we're excited about where we are there and looking forward to the development of that position.
The Big Ten has had some turnover at the face-off X after last season. Nardella's gone, Kennedy's gone, Rafa, even your own Christopher May. Do you breathe a sigh of relief at all now that you don't have to go up against those specialists? And what do you expect from Jake Withers this year at the X?
Well, certainly no sigh of relief. I think that this league has recruited as well as any league in the country. Those schools that you mentioned all have great draw men, either waiting in the wings or have already proven themselves as a commodity. Obviously a special group a year ago, but with the loss of Chris, Jake is certainly the guy for us right now. I think him as a junior, he took over 200 faceoffs as a freshman, played a little bit different role for us last year with Chris, but he's eager and hungry to step back up. He had a great summer for Peterborough this summer at Box, and he's had a great fall for us. So, we're humbled by the challenge that lies ahead, but excited to feel like we got a guy who's ready to take the next step.
You brought in 12 freshmen this season. Out of that group, who do you expect to have an immediate impact this year?
Yeah, I think right now, if we played tomorrow, I'm not sure that any one of our freshmen would make an immediate impact. I think that's one of those things where as the season goes on, traditionally for us, we've seen guys emerge. We're excited about a number of them, from Willie Clan in the goal all the way through the attack. Jack Jasinski is a midfielder / attackman who brings a lot of speed to our lineup, a guy that can really initiate the offense. I think he's continuing to impress Alex Morris, Noah Best, or others in the midfield. Now, as far as defense go, Matt Borges is a young man who I think has some potential defensively for us in kind of that 4th spot right now. So I think it's going to be one of those things where as this preseason and the season begins, we're going to continue to evaluate those guys and their growth, but excited about the class as a whole.
When you're talking to recruits and their families about your program, how do you describe the value of a Big Ten degree?
Oh, it's a great question. I think the bottom line is when you think about Ohio State and you think about the Big Ten, certainly the tradition, but it's the people. When you step on this campus, the way people care about this university and what it means to be a Buckeye, not just for the 4 years, but you talk about being a Buckeye for life. It's those remarkable connections that you make long after. We hope that we have the opportunity as coaches to kind of create the foundation and to help them develop as young men. But ultimately, it's life after their time here as a Buckeye that is truly really special, and this degree is a big part of that.
Your team has reached the NCAA quarterfinals in 2 of the last 3 years. You defeated 3 of the 4 teams that reached the final weekend of the season, including the national champions in Denver during the regular season. What do you need to do to take the next step in your progression as a program and reach the Final Four?
Well, they've got to win in the quarterfinals. Bottom line, it's a new year, and so I think that's obviously been the threshold. Groundbreaking for Ohio Stadium to be the host of the quarterfinals this year. So, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't a goal for us to have the opportunity to play in front of our home crowd in Ohio Stadium. But, right now our focus is on Furman. We understand the importance of just taking it one game at a time. We're humbled by the Big Ten, the conference we play in. We've scheduled all 4 Final Four teams from a year ago on our schedule. So I think, playing a top 10 schedule is where it starts. You got to play the best and grow as a season, and hopefully play your best lacrosse, stay healthy, and come down the stretch prepared to be, like I said, at your very best come May.
Ohio State head coach Nick Myers, we appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck this year.
Thank you. Appreciate that.